Hello my friends, welcome back to Clarity in the Chaos. My name is Tammy, and on this channel I like to share the mental and physical ups and downs of facing the challenges of obesity. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, don't forget to click the like button on this video and subscribe on your way in, because I guarantee you're going to want more videos like this one to inspire you. To get started,
let's be in the present. I don't want to sweat it. I just want to start all over. Just want to start all over. All over.
Hello everyone, welcome if you're new here. I am so glad to have you. Like I said earlier, my name is Tammy. I'm a 50-year-old mother of 9, and I started this channel because back in 2017, I just kind of by accident fell into a ketogenic lifestyle, and I got so excited because it seemed like it was the true answer to fix and end all obesity problems, because it seemed to fix mine. Over the next 2 years, I lost over 200 pounds on a ketogenic high-protein diet and didn't suffer from food noise or hunger or any of these things that I'm currently battling again. And I've had a lot of questions since I started my GLP-1 journey on why I decided to do so. And so I decided to make this video. I'm going to be answering the 3 biggest whys. Why did I stop doing keto if it was working so great? Why did I decide to start a GLP-1? And why did I decide to go with Brello Health? Hopefully that's something that you're interested in. I would assume if you clicked on this video, you were curious. So let's just get started. We're gonna get right into it. First question, if keto worked so well, why did I quit? And that's kind of a loaded question, and I don't really have a definitive answer, but I can just say I never intended to quit keto. Back when I started my weight loss journey at 374 pounds, I literally didn't know anything about what keto was. I kind of fell into it by accident. I was kind of doing my own thing, and my friend heard what I was doing. She's like, oh, you're eating meat and vegetables? Maybe you belong in the keto space. And she's like, it sounds like you're doing keto. And I'm like, what? I've never had heard of keto, ever. So I joined a keto group. It just happened to be the exact perfect one for me. It was high protein focused. It wasn't overly fat conscious. It went based on protein for your body weight, your lean body mass, and basically your fats were kind of lower than regular keto. In fact, almost the entire time that I was doing my keto weight loss plan here on my channel that used to be called Keto in the Chaos, I was constantly questioned of why I didn't eat enough fat. So even though I did the keto diet, the keto I was doing didn't really fall into the parameters of a high-fat diet. It was still a weight loss diet. I was usually eating about 1,288 calories, and I did so easily. Now, one of the reasons it worked so well is because I was morbidly obese. I was 374 pounds, and I was desperate for anything to work. So I was highly motivated. And the weight started falling off immediately, because as you can imagine, as an almost 400-pound woman, eating less than 1,300 calories a day is a huge caloric deficit. And I lost weight very quickly. In fact, I lost my first 100 pounds in 8 months. And that is when I began my YouTube journey, mostly because I just was so adamant that I needed to share this with everybody so that everybody could have this answer of what to do about weight loss. And it did stop all the food noise, all the hunger. It made it so easy. It was cake. I could do it without thinking. It wasn't even hard. When I would coach people or teach people, I couldn't understand why they couldn't also do the same thing. It literally did not even make sense to my brain at the time. I hit my lowest weight, I think, sometime at the end of 2020. I think the lowest I ever got on the scale was 167, which to me was just way too thin. I was really, really comfortable between 170 and 178, and I bounced around in there until July of 2021. I was 174, so exactly 200 pounds down, when I went in to have my plastic surgery. I decided that I was going to have all of the skin, especially off the front of my body, removed because it was just driving me crazy. as it so happened, when the doctor went in there, I had a huge diastasis recti. I mean, like, it was one of the biggest he's ever seen. And having a tightened up muscle core is pretty awesome, and it was worth it for that alone. Granted, it was very, very expensive. We can't really afford it. This channel paid for a lot of it, but then as the time went on, I just couldn't budge any more weight, nor could I seem to get back on strict keto with a calorie deficit like I'd always done before. I was still eating lazy keto. I was still eating high protein. I never stopped doing that, but the weight just seemed to keep coming on more and more. Now, I did have some issues with lymphedema after, and I still am struggling with that. If you don't know what lipedema is or lymphedema, they are both conditions of the lymphatic system. Lymphedema is the actual lymphatic system. It just gets so it doesn't work very well, and so you get swelling, a lot of like water retention. And lipedema is a little bit different. It is a connective tissue disorder where they postulate because of the fact that lymphatic fluid sits in the fatty tissue, it over time forms a fibrous like covering over the fat cells and makes them inaccessible through diet and exercise, and the only way they can be removed is via surgery. And so those two conditions I discovered that I had after the plastic surgery, after my tummy tuck. Well, it was an invasive thing. If you want to know all about that, I have a whole video series on the keto, and well, multiple, and I have a whole video series on the tummy tuck journey and how that all went. And there will of course be one coming of what it feels like to gain weight after tummy tuck, and whether or not I'm gonna have a crap ton of loose skin again, and whether or not I regret it, but that shall be for the future. We won't be discussing that here. So I didn't really mean to stop keto. I didn't really stop it for a really long time. In fact, I don't think I really went back to eating fully carbs until probably January, when the situation happened with my son and this person that kind of just integrated themselves into our lives and kind of caused havoc, turned everything on its head, and caused me to have I questioned my reality. Let's put it that way. I don't want to go into detail about that, but suffice it to say, it was 4 months of hell, and I'm really glad I'm not going through that anymore. I miss my son a lot. I'm heartbroken over him being gone, but I couldn't have that situation happening in my home anymore. So during that time, I went full, and I didn't we're not even talking like what I used to do when I was 374 pounds. I wasn't like eating like treats every single day or sugar every single day or whatever. I just wasn't eating well, and I was eating more and more and more. And my food noise was worse, and I get this weird pain in my brain that I don't know, other people don't experience it. And I believe this is a neurodiversity issue, and that's probably why keto was so miraculous for me, because with keto, I was able to like just stop all of that. And for some reason, like the back right here of my brain is connected to my stomach. If my stomach feels hunger, the back of my brain starts to burn. If I don't eat food, this gets worse, this gets worse. And it's just back and forth until I'm literally screaming inside my head and grabbing my stomach like I literally have never eaten in the last billion days. And yes, could this be caused by running on glycogen versus running on fat? Obviously. But I couldn't seem to get back to that space. Like my brain would fight it. Every day I'd be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm making a plan, whatever. Even last summer, you guys, there was a whole video series where I started it. I tried really hard. I did really well, and I lost 0 weight, and I just lost all dopamine rush motivation. I just couldn't do it anymore. I didn't mean to quit keto. It did work really well. And I don't know why it won't work for me anymore, but I just don't want to do it anymore. And that's the honest truth. I want to be able to eat carbohydrates. I'm not talking like cakes and candies and sugars all day. I'm just like, want to eat some rice and some fruit. Please, a tortilla. Thank the Lord for a tortilla. I don't know. I just don't want to do keto anymore. And people don't understand, like, they don't get that. And it's fine. You don't have to get it. But I'm just telling you that my brain says no. So that's what we're going with right now. Maybe in the future, we'll see. I'm not saying anything anymore. Like I used to say, I'll never go off keto. Well, it has been 8 years, so, things change. Your brain changes. I am older. I'm going through perimenopause. I have yet to miss a period, but I'm not on HRT, and so, I'm sure a lot of these things that I'm going through have to do with that. So I'm trying to figure all of that out, and I still can't get myself to call and make an appointment with the doctor. I have a really great recommendation, but I can't seem to pick up the phone because I have this weird phone phobia too. Like, there's so many stupid little things that cause so much freaking anxiety and annoyance. I literally feel so frustrated all of the livelong day. Not to mention the fact that I'm homeschooling my 2 youngest neurodiverse kids, and I'm also a dance mom of 4, let's see, no, how many do I have now? Yeah, 4 competition dancers. My 5th one on a mission, so he's the one who's in Ecuador. And it's a lot, right? It's a lot. Okay, so that's the reason. If keto works so well, why did I quit? Who knows? Number 2. Why did I choose a GLP-1 over keto again? We've already talked about that. Surgery or another diet plan. Well, considering this hunger problem that I've got, I can't do any diet plan probably that doesn't put me into ketosis and fat burning. So that's why probably I was really never successful in dieting before I ever found keto and thought that keto was the miracle cure because it literally turned off my hunger, which turned off this weird brain thing that I have. So when I first heard about GLP-1 was actually through comments on this channel. When I was struggling to lose weight after my surgery, I was still delusional. I literally thought that I was going to be successful. I was still confident. I had confidence in what I was doing, but it was not working. And here you guys on the channel were just like trying to help, and I don't take help very well because of my autism. I'm very like demand avoidant, and if anyone says you should, immediately I'm like, never. And I can't help it. It happens all day long, every day, and it's really super annoying. It's because it's a demand, and I can't explain it any other way than that. If you haven't gone through it, then you have no idea, and I can't. It would take hours to explain. So we're not gonna go there. We're just gonna say, suffice it to say, it was hard for me to listen to advice. And so several people asked me, what about a GLP-1? What about a GLP-1? And I was like, no, I don't want to do meds. I mean, part of the reason I was such a keto advocate is because it was free. It cost the food only, and there was nothing else I had to do. And I wanted everyone to be able to do it for free, because why should we have to pay for expensive medications and expensive surgeries? That was the first reason. The second reason was I was under the impression that it was being hard to find, that diabetics were having a hard time finding it because people were using for weight loss. Now things have changed a lot. Now there's an actual version of the drug that's been FDA approved by Eli Lilly to treat obesity. And that opened up the door for a lot more people to be involved in it. It was never that they had a shortage of medication. Apparently it was a shortage of the pens. So as soon as that people were willing to just take the good old syringes, I guess that kind of opened the door for more people to try it. And over time, people couldn't afford to get the peptides through Eli Lilly, and so they started searching for other companies, and I don't know what happened with all the lawsuit. Like, there's a lot of things that happened over the last few years that I was oblivious to, right? I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. It's too expensive. I can't afford it. It's just, I don't need to do that. There's no reason for me to do that. I didn't even know how it worked. Like, if I looked into it sooner, we would be having a whole other conversation. But because I was so against it, I refused to look at it at all. I refused to even, entertain the idea. So I didn't even know that there was some kind of like lawsuit that happened because other companies were trying to sell it, where Eli Lilly was like, you can't because you're like basically using our medication. I don't even know if that's the actual truth. All I know is that all of these telehealth companies had to change the way that they formulated the peptides, the way that they dosed the peptides, and so everybody has their own program, which is kind of confusing. But after this situation with my kids was resolved, I had realized that I was putting on weight fast, like so much faster. Like before that, it had been like 10 pounds a year. Now where it was like 10 pounds in 6 months. And I was like, oh no, I gotta do something. I'm way too big to be in the Nutcracker this year. And I had to tell them I wouldn't be able to do it. Plus my son is gone and I don't know if he'll want to. And they were so nice. They were like, let's just measure you and make you a new dress and you can be Mother Ginger this year. And I was like, I It just meant so much to me. And I also knew that my friend, who is the studio director, she was taking the GLP-1. And I also had a friend at church who happened to mention that the way she'd been able to lose the last bit after her tummy tuck, and she's already had bariatric surgery and she's tried all of the things as well, she was on a GLP-1, and she was the one who told me. And then I had another friend that told me that she was on a GLP-1. We ran into each other at a wedding, and she told me how great it had been for her anxiety. When she said that, my ears pricked up, and I was like, wait, what? This is a mental health drug? And that's when my brain went, oh my goodness, what have I been missing? And I started to research it. I started looking up articles. I started looking up at pricing. I started seeing like what it entailed, like how you would do the injections and what the side effects were and stuff like that. And I decided that I was going to find a way. I finally realized that the GLP-1 is the thing that was going to help me get back to that same state that I was in when I was in ketosis, where I was just able to be calm and just plan out what I want to eat and not be driven by the crazy stomach hunger, the crazy brain fire. I'm just calling it the brain fire because that's what it feels. And the food noise, which, by the way, my food noise is like the least of my issues. I've been dealing with food noise a lot this week, and I'm just kind of like, this is not that hard. Compared to what people are describing food noise, what I feel when I am hungry is so much worse. Like, it's on a whole other level. And I am still not confident that this medication will fix it. But I am still hopeful. I have only been on it 2 shots. Tomorrow is my next shot. So far, I'm not making any judgment calls on whether or not it's going to help. Because you can't know yet. It's too early. So that is the reason that I decided to take a GLP-1, is because I found out that it actually not only works in your stomach to slow down your digestion, but it also works in your head. And guys, literally anything that can stop any crazy that is going on in my head is something I'm on board for. I started methylphenidate for ADHD a couple years ago, and it really has helped a lot. But it doesn't fix everything. I have to be on a really high dose already, and I don't want to raise my dose any higher. And I don't know that it would help to raise it any higher anyways, because to get to the point where it no longer is calming you down, instead it just turns you into a psychosocial anxiety crazy maniac. And there's a fine line between happy and in my brain. So yeah, okay, that's a whole other video. We'll do that one too, okay? I'm writing down all the ideas. We're gonna do that one too. We're gonna talk about ADHD, dopamine, and a freaking GLP-1s as soon as I have a handle on that. Okay, what I really like to address is that there's a lot of people, I've been watching your channels, a lot of you guys are out there calling obesity a disease that needs to be medicated. And I beg to differ. Obesity is not a disease. I would argue that it's a disorder. Disordered eating does describe it a little better than a disease. But I would venture that we should make a category in the DSM-6, if it ever comes out, that not only do we have a spectrum of ADHD or a spectrum of autism and autistic behaviors, and that somewhere in those two, in that realm down here, we have disordered eating, and that maybe the 3 go in hand in some cases, definitely in mine, and that we could venture to say that obesity is a neurodivergency, a brain difference. Our brains maybe don't work the same as a neurotypical human being. And can we control that? No. And when I see terrible people on the internet saying evil things about people who are obese, shouldn't fly, they should put the fork down, and stop being lazy and they smell like cheese, I literally want to just rip people just right through the screen, because you just don't get it. Nobody wants to be obese. Just like the people that keep saying that people are being autistic to get attention. No. Nobody wants to be autistic. Nobody wants to be maybe people want to be ADHD. I mean, because ADHD does have more benefits in my opinion, because you really can get a lot done once you hyper-focus on something. And of course, with autism, you'll get a hyper-focus a little bit longer than with ADHD, but that's a whole other thing. What I'm saying is, I pose the question, is obesity a neurodiversity? And if so, it fits right into my happy place of crazy. And you know what? That means it's not necessarily under my control, and I have every right to attempt to medicate for that, and probably will need to medicate for my whole entire life. Unless I can get myself to do keto forever, which I just don't see that being a possibility. Yeah, carnivore, same thing. Keto and carnivore work the same way by getting you to be burning fat instead of glycogen. It's just something about the glycogen that overloads my system, and it makes me constantly hungry, and my body can't deal with being hungry at all. Like at all. I cannot be hungry at all. Can I say it again? No, it's unnecessary. I think you got the point. But it's just like, it's so hard to explain to people and they just don't believe me. It's really hard to explain something you can't see on the outside. Anyway, okay, question number 3. Why did I choose Brello Health? As I said last week in my check-in video, I chose Brello Health, number one and foremost reason, because of price. Because when I was looking for a place to buy meds from, most of them were out of my reach. Or I would find one and it seemed like it was a reasonable monthly fee that I could probably come up with, but then you would have a monthly membership, like with Mochi, where you had to pay $79 extra for the access to the doctors. And now that I've been on Brello for a few weeks, I can't discount that that's a bad thing, because that is one of the things about Brello that's been frustrating, is that I don't appear to have a medical team that I can access a lot. The second reason that I chose Brello Health was because they accepted an HSA plan. The only way I was going to be able to pay for this was using my medical money. I don't have any monthly casholas just lying around for me. Right? I'm barely making it as it is. All of my extra money goes into my kids' dance lives, because it's important to me that they have that in their lives. Yeah, it won't be forever, and I know that. And so when the kids have moved on and graduated and whatnot, I won't have to pay that anymore. But for right now, things are tight because of dance, and that's just the way it is. We can all choose to spend our money the way that we want to spend it, and I choose to spend it on my kids' dance lessons, which means I don't have a lot of disposable income for myself, which is part of the reason that I got brave and decided to come back on here and admit that I regained 90 pounds, because I know that making videos on here can help me pay for my meds, and it can help me pay for my kids' stuff, and it can help me just to like buy the foods and things that I want to eat, because I've done it before and it worked like that with keto, and I'm really thankful for you guys' support, because oh my gosh, you guys have been amazing. Like, I thought you were good when I was doing keto, when I was the expert and could tell you what to do. But the outpouring of love that I have received from you guys since I started these videos, I mean, I expected a lot of backlash. I expected a lot of insults. I expected a lot of telling me that I was never gonna succeed, and I expected people to just plain be mean. And like, I think I've had like 3 sort of negative comments in the entire 2 videos, and that's like combined about 16,000 views and over 1,500 comments, and people haven't said like 3 not nice things, and they weren't even that bad. They weren't even mean. They were just like questions. Like, or why did I come here? I didn't really want to see that. And I'm like, okay, bye. So thank you, because you guys are the way I'm going to make this happen. And I know that this is probably not going to go on forever. It'll get to the point where I don't have anything left to say. And at that point, I don't know what I will do. But for the most part right now, thank you. Thank you so much. I even had a beautiful subscriber sent me 2 giant boxes of protein shakes. I mean, like, what? Thank you. I mean, yeah, it means so much. And ironically, right after I ordered Brello, I did get contacted by another company, and they are still in negotiation with me, and I might end up switching to them. So don't be surprised in the future if I switch and decide to advocate for another company. It's not because they might be the best in the world either. It would probably be because they offer me a good deal, whereas Brello doesn't really have a very good program. They just only have an affiliate, so if you decide you want to do it and you use my affiliate link, I get a one-time kickback, which is nice, but not as good as a company that's really would like to work with me one-on-one and create videos together and like have a collaboration. So I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, but for now, Brello is the best I can find for the money. They work through a reputable pharmacy. That you know where the pharmacy is. It's South End Pharmacy. You can look it up. You can contact the pharmacy should you need to. Like, it's a pharmacy. It's not like in a back alley getting mixed. Like, I've heard some horror stories of women getting injected with parasites because they bought pre-filled syringes from a company like in a wellness center or whatever. Guys, don't do that. Don't do that. You need to buy from a pharmacy that comes in the vials. Oh, I should have brought the vials out. They're in the fridge. It comes in vials or in pens, and it's mixed there, and it's safe, right? It's safe. Don't be falling for these scams out there. There's so many. If they message you on Messenger, if Brello Health messages you on Messenger, it's a scam. They don't do that. You have to order through the website. You can either type it in yourself or you can use my link and give me a kickback. But you cannot order through Messenger. If they get you through Messenger, they will just keep milking you for cash till you figure it out. And I've seen people lose hundreds and hundreds of dollars before they figure it out. Another great thing about Brello Health is that they do have their own tracking app. It's limited at the current moment. The food tracking isn't ideal, but the weight tracking and measurement tracking is good. And then you can track your shots in there as well, and you can kind of see how things change over time. And it also has your order history and your next order date when it's coming up, so you know when you're going to get charged on your card and that kind of thing, so that it's not a surprise. Also, I have to add, one I found out after I bought the medication is that for the first 3 months, they give you the titrated doses, which theirs are different from Eli Lilly. They start at a lower dosage, which is not ideal for someone like me who apparently needs higher dosages of medicine to work. I had the same thing with methylphenidate, probably going to have the same thing here. They start you at 2.2 milligrams, and then it goes to 4.4, 6.6, 8.8, and so on. And so when they send you the first 3 months supply, you do have to pay for the whole first 3 months up front. And just so you know, it's $499, which is awesome. And there are no extra doctor fees or anything. That includes the doctor visit. And so in that 3 month supply, you get enough vials to do the whole 3 months with all the titration. But in the first vial, if you stay on 2.2, that's 10 weeks of 2.2 in that first vial. And you're supposed to throw it out after 4. But you don't have to. As long as you're keeping it clean, you can continue to use that medication. So as long as you weren't titrating up, you could literally get 10 weeks out of that first vial, which is awesome. And then, if you decided to titrate up fully, I think I did the math correctly on this. If you decided to do the 4 weeks at 2.2, the 4 weeks at 4.4, and the 4 weeks at 6.6, then you would have 15 weeks of product if you used every drop in the bottles. So that's 3 extra weeks that they don't tell you that you get. And that's only if you titrate up that fast. If you're titrating up slower, which is what people recommend to do to mitigate the stomach issues, you could stretch it out for a lot longer. So that $4.99 is really going far. And that's something I got really excited about when I realized it, because I realized that I got a really good deal. Better deal than I thought I did, right? Now, I've already started titrating up on the very second week because it didn't work for me at all in the first week. But that's a whole other video. We're not going to worry about that here. But I will say that that's one of the positives of going with a compounding pharmacy. I would imagine that any compounding pharmacy that is selling you 3 months in a row or 6 months or 12 months or whatever they sell, because sometimes they sell them a lot, that you'll have a situation like that where you're going to get more medication than what you actually need, which is awesome because, hello, it's liquid gold. Another great thing that Brello Health has is they have a private Facebook group. So there is a Brello Health actual public Facebook group, and there's a lot of scammers in there. It's a lot of great information, but there's a lot of scammers in there. But when you join Brello, you not only get access to the app, you also get access to the community. And the community is safe. It's a private group, and only certified Brello users are allowed in. And they have 2 ladies there that are the moderators who also work for Brello. And so if there's a problem and you're not getting any contact from Brello, you've messaged them, it's just not getting worked out, you can post about it on the board and those ladies will go to bat for you and they will figure it out. It's awesome. They're such a great support system. They're so gung-ho. They're always posting like recipes and games and things to keep us motivated, and they're just really, really good mentors and really good moderators over there on that board. So there's already a built-in social network for Brello, which I don't know if other companies have. Maybe they do, and I shall find out if I decide to switch to a different company in the future. But for now, I'm really, really happy with the situation. Some people have complained that Brello meds are watered down. Usually if someone's saying that the Brello meds are watered down, they're trying to scam you into getting meds off the gray market. I don't recommend, I don't know anything about that. I'm not going down that road. If you want to get technical, the Brello meds actually have a higher concentration than Eli Lilly. It's just that they recommend a different titration schedule because they have to. But you can still start your own self on 2.5 if you don't want to do the 2.2. This is something that they, on the group, it was a little iffy because the people didn't want to say, like, do it without talking to the doctor. I did attempt to talk to the doctor, and that's where my number one issue has been with Brello, is that when I asked the doctor if I could do that, I got a generic response that didn't have anything to do with my question, and when I responded, I didn't get a response back. Now, I haven't tried again, so who's to say that maybe it was just a random fluke? I don't know. But I didn't feel like maybe there was doctors as readily available as a person would like who would have questions about titration or side effects and things like that. Like if you weren't like me and read every freaking subreddit that exists, you might not know about the side effects as much as I do, or understand about all the different concentrations of medication and the units on the syringes. I'll do a video about that at some point too. Because I know everything now about that because I have autism and ADHD, and that is how my brain works, right? I have to know everything. Oh, in a couple years I'll forget it all and I won't be an expert anymore, just so you know. So enjoy it right now while you can. Another downfall to Brello is that it does take a really long time to get, and that it's also in high demand. So it's harder to get. Every day they start at 6 a.m. taking orders, and when they've reached their current order max, which we don't know what that is, it's just based on their current ability to handle and like the amount of employees that they have and whether or not they're keeping up with orders, they make a daily cap. So you got to get up early, you got to check to see if it's available, you got to start your thing early in the day. Sometimes if you check in the evening, it won't be open, but Dave, when he ordered his, it was open. So in the evening on a Sunday. So you don't know, you just have to check, and if it's not open, it'll literally say on the front of the page like that the order quota has been met for the day, and then come back tomorrow at 6 a.m. That did happen to me, and it was okay. I survived. I went back the next day and I was able to get it. It does take quite a bit of time to get here. For me, it took 18 days. That included weekends. It was hard because they made the UPS like shipping label on a Thursday, and apparently they don't ship on Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays. So then I got another shipping label on Monday, and it finally came on Tuesday. So that was a lot of days of hope and like going, oh, is it coming? And it wasn't. And so that was kind of disappointing. But since I knew it was going to take a long time, I was expecting that. And I used that time to do deep dive on researching on everything I could about it. Every single YouTube video I can find. I am subscribing to all of your channels. Sorry. I mean, I'm sure you don't mind, but like I know it tells you when I subscribe, and it's like super awkward. Every time I hit the subscribe button, I think, oh man, or every time I comment, I think, oh man, they're just gonna get this alert. Chaos Tammi has joined the chat. Hello. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you there. Anyway, I'm trying to subscribe to a lot of channels because like when I get obsessed with something, that's all I want to do is watch the videos, and I'm sure you're the same way, which is why I'm making videos, and you know, we can share with each other. Yeah, so I used that 3 weeks to practice getting my calories down, practice getting my fiber up, practice getting my protein up. You know, that's another video I need to make because a lot of people seem confused of why I'm trying to hit so much fiber. They're used to me hitting protein because I've been doing that forever, but people are wondering why I'm eating carbs, why I'm trying to get fiber in, and I'm probably going to have to do another separate video explaining about all of that stuff because most of the people who are here started with me on keto, and so it seems like weird that I am doing all this different things, and I didn't even think to explain it. So I am going to be better about that. My last video was so long, I'm just going to have to come up with ways to divide things up. And so that's everything. That's my reason why I quit keto, my reason why I decided to go on a GLP-1, and my reason that I decided to go with Brello Health. So if you want to join Brello Health Team, the link is in the description. It's also on my community tab. It's also on my Instagram. So if you want to check all of those places and find the link, or you can just post a message and say, hey, what's the link? And I will take the time to copy it and paste it for you if that will make you happy and if that will help you to choose to use my link if you're going to go with Brello. If you're not going with Brello, it's fine. You don't have to worry about it. But if you're thinking about it, if you're on the fence about it, I highly recommend you just start watching some people's videos. I definitely recommend watching Jordan Syatt's video on it because he didn't even need to lose weight, and he went on it just to understand what it was like for his clients, and that was the video that solidified it for me. When he talked about the food noise being gone and the pure like calmness that he felt for the first time ever. We're talking this guy has been out of the obesity realm for a decade or more. I don't even know how long, right? He teaches how to be not obese anymore. But he's still fighting those demons. And to see him be so grateful, that was the clincher for me. That was the absolute clincher. And I hope that maybe this video gave you some ideas on why it might help you. If you're like me and you struggle with the hunger and the food noise and all of the things that make trying to lose weight so freaking difficult, and keto is just not up your alley and carnivore is just not up your alley, you might want to consider investing in your health and investing in a GLP-1. I know that over time, these are going to become more and more accessible for more and more people. They have in the last 5 years. The price has gone so much lower. I was so grateful to be able to find it at a price that I could afford. And now Dave can take it too because we can both afford it with our health savings account because we didn't have any emergencies this year. Knock on wood. Anyway, thank you so much for being here and for watching my long, ridiculously rambly videos. I can't make a short one. I don't even know how. And I hope that you guys are having a beautiful day. I hope you'll come back for my check-in to see how things went this week. And I just love you all so much. And I'll talk to you again soon.